While inflation may be rising with food and electricity prices, many indicators have revealed a downward spiral, taking everything with it. There is no stopping what we are facing right now simply because the policies are meant to exacerbate our current crisis. Markets may fluctuate, some may profit, but the world is turning upside down and will destroy most everything in its path. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. We're going to get into how everything is falling fast. I want to show you a few charts, but first, I wanted to get into a couple things. This is a little silly picture that I found, but it does tell quite a bit of truth. The things that didn't matter. Whether that's market breadth, the PE ratios, the debt, the stock buybacks, China, the Federal Reserve, the US dollar. None of these things mattered until they began to matter, of course. Seems a little interesting here, but you can see the stickman, you can see the stairway going up, and no matter what problem there were, it doesn't matter as long as the stocks are rising. But what happens when that begins to stall? Well, all of a sudden it matters, and we can't really look at what they say in the mainstream media and believe it. We need to take little pieces of what they say, put it all together, and come up with our own analysis. Let's look at this, the TPP. I'm going to have to do an entire video about the TPP, so I just wanted to mention it quickly that of course it passed. Doesn't surprise me. I'm sure it doesn't surprise anyone. And the TPP is being touted as the next NAFTA. But to most people, NAFTA means free trade. Of course, that's the name of it. It's free trade agreement. So of course, if there's a treaties and pacts and agreements, these things are good. That means it's more money in your pocket, of course. And according to McLean's, what the TPP will do is lower trade barriers. Sounds great, doesn't it? The TPP will lower tariffs as well as lower non-tariff technical barriers almost across the board. There are far too many changes to list. Well, I have to say that if NAFTA admittedly cost many jobs, then how can the TPP be any different? They always stick in a few little secretive things into these bills as well that have absolutely nothing to do with the actual bill it's for. We've seen this countless times. I brought it up here as well. And it's kind of interesting the way that this is all being presented to us as being beneficial. If you live in Canada and you go across to the US border, or perhaps you purchase something online, a lot of times, most of the time in fact, you have to pay a duty fee. Now, as far as I'm concerned, we get these promoted to us as free trade. Now, the free trade is being presented to the public like it's beneficial to us, but the free trade is only beneficial to the big corporations. That's the way it works. You have to pay duties, you have to pay taxation. The big corporations, though, they don't. Is it beneficial? Will they pass that on to you? Of course not. They simply are allowed to make more profit. That's enough for this video. Not really the topic, but I had to get into it. And it's just something really that upsets me to look at. Petrodollar exports to be negative in 2014 for the first time in 18 years. These are downtrends that are occurring. This is not something unique. This is not a unicorn here. We're seeing downtrends occurring. This happens to be one of them. If it's emerging markets or whatever, doesn't matter. We're seeing this happen before our very eyes. World import volume and price. Looking at the growth rates in percentage, whether that's the import volume, import price, over the past few years definitely has been in decline. Take it from, for example, the year 2000, and you see a trend forming. That trend shows downward. Why downward? Well, because they've exhausted all of their weaponry and they cannot maintain what they used to. We saw a massive crash after 2008 in many respects. Why? Because it was all fraudulent, giving it a boost up in the first place. Capital flows to emerging markets. This is the annual data. Another downtrend right here that we are seeing. Emerging markets, it's just part of the problem. It is a globalized world. Let's look at this. Interest rates reflects the economic growth and inflation. Interest rates being the black line. And obviously they're right around that zero mark. And if you look at the real interest rates, then it becomes negative. But even some countries have actually put the interest rates at a negative. And what's that going to do for the economy? It's just going to destroy it even faster. Now, there are ups, there are downs. There certainly will be more stock booms in the future. But we're looking at the peak level of prosperity, and it is long gone. The long wave, the Elliott wave, you're looking at these different very long waves, the Kondratiev wave, whether it's 200 years, 75 years, whatever it is, you can base this information on, I'll get to it right away. In fact, in my book, talking about Robert R. Prechter's book, At the Crest of the Tidal Wave. An amazing book, shows you the technical side of all of this investing and on what's happening within the markets. He said that the years following the post-war prosperity comprised the peak of the U.S. empire. You may not agree with him. However, what he does talk about here is those long waves, the Elliott waves, Kondratiev waves, and basically shows you in many different ways that things are on a downtrend. And I have to believe at least that. It seems like you are witnessing a slow motion crash. It's like every day you wake up and you see the same mistakes happening over and over and over again. It's sick to watch. The velocity of money shows transmission system is broken. Velocity, obviously important. Volume is important. These are things that you can look at. Simple technical indicators that many individuals on this channel, I'm sure, aren't interested in. But it is important that we touch on it occasionally, and we can see again a downtrend. It has been something that goes up and goes down. It's definitely the way it works, but the trend again downward. Monetary velocity declines as excess leverage weighs on consumption. Household debt is a huge problem. Look at the student loans. Look at all of the different debt that is available to us, whether that's at a personal level, provincial, municipal, state, county, whatever. More debt equals less prosperity. That is the way it's been working, and it doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. Last but not least, if you found the video informative, you'll find my book even more informative. If you want to flip through it, head over to Amazon, hit the look inside feature, and flip through it for yourself. Take care.